for this Creative Age project to accelerate the growth of our MSMEs in the Philippines. So this is by the Department of Trade and Industry, supported and funded by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, or UNDESA. So today we have a very interesting launch for you to show you the potentials of the Philippines as the creative industry grows exponentially worldwide post-pandemic. And so I'd like to turn you over to our host for today from the DTI. Good morning, everybody, once again.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sir Joel. What a pleasant morning we are having. Before anything else, we would like to thank you for virtually joining us today to officially kickstart the Creative Age for the Sustainable Development Goals, Accelerating Growth of MSMEs in the Philippines program, or simply the Creative Age for SDGs. The details of the program will be introduced later, so I will not spoil anything for now. But all I can share at this point is that this program is jointly implemented by the Division for Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, or UNDESA TSDG, and the Department of Trade and Industry, Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development. Since 2019, extensive initiatives under the UNDESA's MSME project have been substantively supporting the department in creating a conducive policy environment for MSMEs. For 2022 until 2025, the Philippines through the DTI is once again pleased to be included among the pilot countries of the UNDESA approved projects on enhancing MSME resilience for building back better. This project was officially launched last May 26 to 27, 2022 in Manila through the conduct of a policy workshop on strengthening resilience of women and youth-led MSME in the creative industry in the Philippines for implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The activity presented good practices and effective actions that have achieved demonstrable impacts on elevating MSME resilience and their contributions to the SDGs. Before we get started, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our honored guests. Later, we will be joined by Congressman Christopher De Venecia, Pangasinan 4th District Representative. Also, we have Mr. Clark Liu, Sustainable Development Officer of the UNDESA DSDG's National Strategies and Capacity Building Branch. Also, we will be joined by OIC Director Emma Asusana of the DTI Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development. We have here Mr. Joel Santos, our National Consultant. Esteemed speakers, Ms. Mara Piñon, founder of Mara Piñon PH Wearable Art, and Ms. Ali Garibay, founder of Linangan Art Residency. We also have here our DTI regional and provincial directors, representatives from the DTI offices, regions and provinces, creative MSME champions, dear participants. Again, a pleasant morning to everyone. And a good evening to our colleagues in UNDESA joining from New York. I am Joseph Ronald Reyes of the DTI Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development. Allow me to start this exciting day by posting a few reminders. So first, this event will be recorded and screenshots will be taken for documentation and promotion in print and digital form, including social media. Also, participants' microphones will be muted by default. Please keep your mic muted unless you need to speak. All right, so without further ado, we feel so privileged to be here with you all, but we wouldn't be all here today without the unparalleled support of the Division for Sustainable Development Goals of the UNDESA. Despite the time difference, we are truly thankful that they adjusted their schedule to grace this event. With that, let us all hear the opening remarks from the Division for Sustainable Development Goals, United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, Mr. Amson Sipanda, Chief of the National Strategies and Capacity Building Branch, Division for Sustainable Development Goals, of UNDESA, who will be represented by Mr. Clark Liu, Sustainable Development Officer of the National Strategies and Capacity Building Branch. Mr. Clark Liu will also present the DESA's MSME project. Everyone, let us give a virtual round of applause for Mr. Liu.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Joseph, as the master ceremony, for your detailed introduction about the key points we have already reached with the DTI. On behalf of my chief, Mr. Emerson Sibanda, who is requested to join the urgent mission today, I would like to introduce about our work on micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And before I start this, as the master ceremony rightly mentioned, I am from the division for Sustainable Development Goals, which is often called SDGs. The Sustainable Development Goals is a global sustainable development framework endorsed solemnly by all the member states of the United Nations. It has an important timeline by 2030, and each year the Division for Sustainable Development Goals will work with different member states, including the Philippines, to monitor progress each country has made against each of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to underline the important contributions of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to Sustainable Development Goals, which is also the reason why we are joining hands honorably with the Department of Trade and Industry of the Philippines and work with you all to support MSEs, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, to achieve Sustainable Development Goals. Now I will start my presentation using share screen to share my PowerPoint. Just want to make sure, can everyone see my screen here?
Yes, Clark. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But it's not in the slideshow.
Oh, okay. So can I do the slideshow function? Okay. Maybe I start without further ado. I will flip by slides. Why we work on micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and MNCs? First of all, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises account for about 90% of business globally. If you talk about business entities, then we first talk about micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. They are important task force or often mentioned as engines for job creation. And that's why one of the main reasons we support MSCs. That is because if we support MSCs, we are supporting jobs. And if we support jobs, jobs will provide important livelihood resources for women, youth, and groups in vulnerable situations.
Sorry,
What is
Clark?
Yes.
Sorry, because we can't see the screen. Do you mind pressing the presentation button below?
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. Okay. Thank you.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's continue to talk about micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. They are important task force to create jobs, to provide livelihood for households, for families. But unfortunately, they are also affected considerably by the COVID-19 pandemic. And in addition to that, the world is undergoing challenges at the same time, including the climate crisis, rising inflations, and global supply chain interruptions. All these challenges are affecting MNCs. And if MNCs are affected, if their business sustainability cannot be guaranteed, this means that the livelihood of many households around the world are in jeopardy. And that's why we join hands with DTI and work with you all to strengthen the resilience of MNCs to these uncertainties. And resilience have two folds. One is we support MNCs, strengthen their capacities to capture high-value market opportunities at the same time of supporting them handling or tackling risks emerging from all these challenges, as I mentioned. Supporting MSC resilience is also included in a number of UN resolutions, especially after the outbreak of the global pandemic from 2019. So this slide shows some quick fact about our projects. As Joe mentioned, we have two projects now on strengthening capacities of MSCs to enhance their resilience and expand their contributions to Sustainable Development Goals. One project is funded by the Peace and Development Fund of the United Nations, also called as PDF, and the Philippines is one of the 9 pilot countries under this project. In Asia, the pilot countries include Cambodia, Laos, Sri Lanka, and the Philippines. We are honored indeed to launch the project together with DTI back in May this year, and we just launched the project 2 weeks ago in Cambodia. And this launching event for the MSC capacity building program in Philippines is an important milestone of our project implementation in the Philippines. This slide shows another project which also focuses on MSC resilience. It is funded by the development account of the United Nations, and the Philippines is also a part of the country of this project. The project will last from 2002 to 2025. So this is a map showing locations of the project in both Asia and Africa. As mentioned, in Asia, the pilot countries including the Philippines, Cambodia, Laos, and Sri Lanka. This slide shows I think in the right side or the left side in your screen, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And the other part of the slides shows the direct Sustainable Development Goals that MSC can contribute. Among others, these include SDG 1, no poverty, SDG 2, zero hunger, 5, gender equality, 8, decent work, 9, industry and innovations, and 10, reduce inequalities. MSC is also important to improve responsible consumption and production, as SDG 12, and globally, countries are joining hands to support MSCs, considering their critical roles to SDGs, and that relates to SDG 17 on partnership for the goals. This slide shows the logic framework or the structure of our framework. What we do, we focus on capacity building in 2 aspects. One is to strengthen capacity of policymakers, which relates to the first box, which relates to this box. And secondly, we strengthen capacities of policymakers, helping them to formulate evidence-based MSC supporting policies and to create enabling policy framework for MSC growth. So this is also called the policy component. And second component, we call it as the entrepreneur component. That focus directly on the capacity building of MSC entrepreneurs. And this box, this output is what we are doing now. We are honored and we are tremendously happy to launch this capacity building program together with DTI and together with you all. It is one of the first capacity building program under our project among our project partner countries. We have high hopes to this project, to this capacity building program, and we look forward to join hands with you all to contribute to its best success. Let me also mention focusing on women, youth, and groups in vulnerable situations, a cross-cutting focus of our work. And that is also the reason we are happy to receive you all, many women, youth entrepreneurs coming from all parts of the Philippines. Here I will quickly flip through. These are some slides showing the achievements we have made in the past years. We started our MSC work in 2018. So until now, we have been working on this important topic for about 5 years. As you can see, we have reached a number of policies globally, and we have also organized a number of capacity building workshops. This also shows the result chain we have taken here in the Philippines. I utilize the example where we worked with the city of Cebu on the impact assessment of COVID, creating MSCs. in the Cebu city. And we are very happy to see that our work has been upscaled into this training program that will be implemented throughout the country in the Philippines. So this shows a list of knowledge products we have produced. I will quickly flip through this slides because it includes a lot of details. And this slide shows some photos we have taken from the workshops we organized in the past years. And here, this is a photo from the policy workshop we organized together with the TTI in May this year. If you want to see more details about our work, please do not hesitate to visit our website. Here shows the web page, the address of our web page. Please log on and you will see all the information on our MSc work. Finally, here is a link to the survey of this event. We would like to listen and understand your voice and your concerns about our work, which really matters for us to deliver our work in a demand-driven approach to make sure the results we reach are full of impact, align with your demands, and it will be sustainable. I will stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liu, for your heartwarming words and for that very informative presentation on DESA's MSME project. All right, so at this very moment, we are already thrilled to see what this program is stored for us. So moving on, let us welcome our next speaker, who will present the creative industry potential both in the Philippine and global context, putting the spotlight on Mr. Joel Santos, the project's national consultant. Sir Joel.
Thanks, Joseph. So while I'm doing that, thank you, Clark, for that great presentation. I think it's important that we all understand how the UNDESA has been really helping the Philippine creative industry. And so, Ron, can you please post in the chat the survey that Clark put? Because I think that's very important that we get the feedback from our audience today on their needs and their understanding of the potential of the creative industry. So before I show my slides, so let me introduce myself. I'm Joel Santos. I'm the national consultant for this project, on this capacity building project under the DTI and the UNDESA. So I'm really, really happy to welcome, representatives from about 8 cities that will be benefiting from this capacity building program, particularly called Creative Age. So I'd like to welcome participants from Dagupan City, participants from Marikina City, from Tagbilaran City of Central Visayas, San Fernando, Pampanga, especially San Fernando. I know Christmas is so different in San Fernando, and I'm hoping to see all of your paroles this year. From Bacolor, Pampanga, Iloilo City, from Pavia, Iloilo City, and of course, Puerto Princesa, our always being featured as one of the best islands in the world, Palawan, Cagayan de Oro City, Vigan City, and Quezon City. So thank you for coming. These are our MSME representatives from these 8 cities who will be benefiting, who are beneficiaries for this program. So I will now be sharing my screen. You'll have to stop sharing your screen. Yes. Okay. So as we launch this Creative Age, one of the things that Clark mentioned that I think is very important. Our challenges is that the MSMEs were hardest hit, during the pandemic. We're all affected, but MSMEs in particular. But I think that, again, is an opportunity because, as you well know, for every crisis, there's an opportunity. And we really appreciate UNDESA's support for this project because this is an opportunity to bring our MSMEs from a crisis situation to high-value market opportunities. And I'm going to highlight that again. So what are these high-value opportunities? Well, first and foremost, the combination of the fourth industrial revolution that everybody was talking about before the pandemic, plus the pandemic, now requires developing new business models. And that is what we now call the creative industry 4.0. For me, this is a game changer. And let me explain to you why. When you talk about creative industry 4.0 as a game changer, first and foremost, let me define what it is. It is actually the intersection of Industry 4.0, which is the digitization of all industries, and the creative industry. So yan ang creative industry 4.0. In detail, it means that all creative services can be made exponential with technology, and all creative products can be sold anywhere in the world. Wala nang physical boundaries. So if you want a very clear example of that, creative services made exponential with technology, you use it every day, none other than Spotify. Music plus tech becomes Spotify. Who is one of the most musical countries in the world? Philippines. Everybody sings except me. So I'm not part of the music industry potential, but I can be your tech side. Created products with no physical boundaries. Etsy, you can create and sell any of your creative products in the world through Etsy. My daughter, who is also a creative, she's now studying in New York in Pratt, she buys all of her products from Etsy. So when you talk about Industry 4.0, two very clear examples that we use every day, Spotify and Etsy. And I always ask myself, why can't the Philippines be part of the creative industry 4.0? But then here's the answer. That's why we have Creative Age. So what about the Philippine potential? Let me quote a few data from the Philippine Creative City Playbook, which I am a co-author, and a lot of other creatives from Cebu and Baguio, who are the first two creative cities of the country. So first, how is creativity being used in the Philippines? It is almost used in everything. It's true. Look at it. Audiovisual, design, virtual arts, digital interactive, publishing, traditional global expression domains, which means Philippine culture, cultural festivals, arts and crafts, creative services, our advertising, our commercials, performing arts. You know that we have a lot of performers in the West End and in Broadway, and cultural sites. So, we use creativity in everything. How have we been impacted in terms of our economy? Well, we're now 15th. Imagine, in 2018, in the Global Innovation Index, we were 73. 2019, 54. Now we are 50. So, we are progressing in terms of the Global Innovation Index. Another highlight, we are 41st in terms of innovation output in the world. So this is much higher than 2018. So what does it mean? Well, because of our thrust toward innovation, and creativity is part of that domain, we are number one in terms of creative services in ASEAN. Are you surprised? You should not be, because they always say the Philippines is the most creative country in Southeast Asia. We are also 57 out of 130 countries in terms of creative outputs. In other words, we're in the top 30% of the whole world who sell anything in terms of creative. That already shows you that as a country, we are a strong player in the creative industry. And finally, malaki ba siya in terms of our export? It is 10th as of now, but it can still grow much, much further. And how? Well, that's the whole point. I think one of the challenges or one of the opportunities is how do we transform our Philippine creative potential to creative industry 4.0? Sorry. My slides jumped. So let me Let's continue. So with that potential, the question is, how do we then transform this potential of the Philippines to creative industry 4.0? And that's why we actually truly appreciate the help of UNDESA and the DTI in helping on this capacity building project so that our MSMEs can go to the higher level of high value opportunities. There is really no reason why we cannot have a Spotify or an Etsy. So in that regard, I'd like to end with this visual, which I guess sums up my presentation. In the beginning, there was traditional creatives. Now we should move towards creative industry 4.0. So thank you very much. And I'm looking forward, as the national consultant for this project, to work with all the cities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Joel, for that comprehensive presentation. All right, so next, to officially introduce the Creative Age for SDGs program, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to Mr. Edwin C. Pasahol, Chief Trade Industry Development Specialist, DTI Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, Program Development Division. Take it away, Sir Ed.
Yeah, good morning. Jo, can you share the screen?
Yes, sir.
So magandang umaga po sa lahat. No? Good morning, everyone. Clark, Sir Joel, Director Emma is, I don't know if she's coming. She's in another event, but yeah, she asked me to take over. All right. Okay, can you make it the slideshow? Can you make it slideshow, Joe? Okay. While you're doing that, siguro umpisa ko na. We can show it na big screen. Ayaw.
Sir, we are sharing it again, sir. All right, Sir Ed, it's already
All right.
presented na po.
Okay, sige. I'd like to greet our partners first from the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. We have National Strategies and Capacity Building Branch, Division of Sustainable Development Goals Chief, Mr. Amson Sibanda, as well as Mr. Clark Liu, Sustainable Development Officer. We will have later on Congressman Christopher Di Venecia of the 4th District of Pangasinan. Of course, our consultant, Mr. Joel Santos, our project consultant, our colleagues from DTI bureaus and offices, regional and provincial offices, local government units, our MSME creative champions, and esteemed guests and partners. Good morning. I personally believe that Filipinos are naturally creative, and as we are saying, and innovative. A lot of people can attest that Filipinos are talented in every kind of industry, and this can be seen through the rise of many potential businesses in the country. Now we can see the rise of creative economy, which is comprised of industries that are based on individual skill and creativity, which have the potential to generate income and jobs through the generation of intellectual property. And some of the wonderful creative industries include the advertising, film animations, as mentioned earlier, music, architecture, crafts, design, literatures, new media and culinary arts, ina po sa iba. And these are just a handful of the creative industries available in the Philippines. And the list goes on and on. Jointly organized by the SDG, DESA, and the Department of Trade and Industry, DTI, the program will focus on the creative industry sector that has grown into an important pillar of the, of course, national economy. And for the program, the MSMEs, as we all know, sector in the Philippines is crucial in creating employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. It is deemed as the engine of economic growth na palagi natin naririnig yan, job creation, poverty eradication, yun po sa mga nagagawa ng ating mga micro, small, and medium enterprises in the country. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has negatively impacted MSMEs, undermining their contributions to inclusive and sustainable growth, combined with the unexpected and devastating effects of this recent typhoon that we have not affected many parts of the country. The pandemic has highlighted the urgent need to implement robust policies and good practices aimed at strengthening MSME resilience, especially among women and youth, yung tinatarget natin na mga entrepreneurs. So in that regard, elevating the resilience of SMEs will contribute to the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and SDGs in the Philippines. DTI recognizes the critical role of MSMEs in the creative industries and how they play in enabling innovation and collaboration with local stakeholders for social impact and sustainable development. And with this support of the UNDESA, we will be launching this project Creative Age, ang tawag natin for SDGs, for Sustainable Development Goals. Age stands for accelerating growth for MSMEs in the Philippines. And the program is a 3-month online program which aims to strengthen the business resilience of women and youth. Kagaya nabanggit po kanina, women and youth-led MSMEs in the creative industries in the chosen localities. Part of this initiative is the implementation of a program that supports the creation of a future-proof pathway for entrepreneurs. DTI recognizes the critical role of MSMEs in the creative industries, how they play in enabling innovation and collaboration with local stakeholders for social impact and sustainable development. And this is to co-create and co-develop policies and roadmaps to strengthen the creative industries of selected cities and municipalities. So we have identified the cities, municipalities, considering the criteria we have formulated, which we'll be discussing in the coming slides po. As agreed by the DTI and UNDESA, the capacity building program poses inclusive scope with focuses on cities and municipalities with the following characteristics and prerequisites. And nakikita nyo po, current DTI regional office and local government unit want to support and or prioritize the creative industries. There are schools, trade school learning centers in the locality where one may go to receive training for creative skills. And third bullet, there are identified existing or potential creative champions from public office and or private organizations in the locality who can lead initiatives for the creative industries. There is also existing local data or information about the creative industry in the locality. Next is yung kailangan there is an existing or planned gathering, summit, or conferences or for stakeholders in the creative industries. And then for cities, must be a signatory of the Philippine Creative City Network or PCCN na manifesto. Cities and municipalities must have focus on any of the first 3 identified Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, yung PCD natin na creative domains. At nakita nyo sa baba, yan, nandiyan po, design and creative services domain. Kasama po yung mga graphic design, fashion and accessory making dyan, furniture making, jewelry making, footwear making, among others. And pangalawa, yung traditional cultural expression domain, na nandiyan po yung fine arts, crafts and photography, and pangatlo yung ating digital interactive media domain, na kung saan na yung mga film, TV, radio, internet, podcasting, video games, and animation. So we are hoping to accommodate more creative domains in the next run of the program. There will be 2 creative MSME champions from each cities and municipalities. identified who will participate in a series of workshops, and nominated MSMEs from cities and municipalities will be assessed and shortlisted based on qualifications. And for this run, 16 qualified participants will be part of the series of sessions classes of this program, and this shall capacitate creative entrepreneurs, particularly ngayon nabanggit natin again women and youth, with the latest entrepreneurial tools to develop their key skills and knowledge that they will need for enhancing their business resilience in the creative industries. So as we reach the Sustainable Development Goals, our participants running an enterprise under the identified 3 creative domains must be youth. Pag sinabi natin youth, by law, it's 18 to 30 years old, and women-led MSME creative champions. Yung women, walang walang age limit naman po. And based on that criteria, we have endorsed this following cities and municipalities that have been identified, and these identified areas is based on the qualifications stated earlier. Was based on the qualifications I mentioned. So with the latest entrepreneurial tools to develop the key skills and knowledge they will need for enhancing their resilience in the creative industries. The topics will include discussions on the creative industries in the Philippines, design thinking, business innovation, strategic marketing, intellectual property rights, among others. So after graduating from the capacity building workshops, yung ating creative 16 champions are expected to become master trainer, sharing their knowledge learned from the trainers with more MSME entrepreneurs. No, share nyo sa mga MSME entrepreneurs on enhancing their business resilience naman, and so that they can contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. And through intensive knowledge exchange and dialogue among participants, the program will deliver capacity building workshops, strengthen capacities of creative MSMEs nga in the country to expand their contributions to the 2030 agenda for sustainable development in the Philippines, and SDGs na rin in the Philippines. Pangalawa, yung empower each identified creative champions with new and innovative business model to transform and sustain their business ventures and obtain opportunities to do business pitch. Yan, magpipitch po tayo at the end of the program to potential investors and partners. And the identified creative champions are expected naman to share their knowledge and experience with more MSME entrepreneurs, as I mentioned earlier. And pangatlo, yan, to identify, document, and exchange experiences and lessons learned on running MSME-led creative industry in the country, including good practices initiated by peer creative MSME entrepreneurs, as well as partners from public and private sectors. So moreover, cities and municipalities will be required to also make their own reviews and studies of their cities' creative industries and MSMEs. This initial mapping will include quantitative analysis of official government data that offers initial review of their city's local creative industries, and then through the help of DTI and their respective LGU, the qualitative kasama na po yung qualitative analysis part of the program's topics and discussions. So with this program, we can truly, next slide na, we can truly say that Filipinos are creative people, and this is evident in the many fields of endeavor that we venture into, resulting in productivity and innovation. As we push for strengthening resiliency among our women and youth-led creative MSMEs in fulfilling our SDGs, we also unleash and enhance the creative spirit of the Filipino. And now we can see this is a tool for our national recovery as well. Therefore, we are utilizing the resources. We are utilizing these resources in helping ourselves and our nation. So yun, masyado mahaba. Salamat po. And yeah, congratulations for this.
Big thanks, Sir Ed. It may be a long 3-month program, yet it will be an exciting journey for the creative champions. All right, so without further ado, may I introduce our next speaker to present one of the most compelling reasons for this project. The Republic Act number 11904, or the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act. Representative Christopher Vera Perez de Venecia has taken up the cause of championing the Philippine creative industries and lent it the voice it has sorely needed in the Philippine politics. Drawing from his experiences as a TV and film actor, newspaper columnist, magazine editor, theater director, as well as producer and founder of two of Manila's leading theater companies, he has trained the attention of the House to the needs of those who valiantly work to promote Philippine arts and culture and who showcase in every from the excuse me magnificence of Filipino artistry. He is the lead convener of the Arts, Culture, and Creative Industries block of the 18th Congress, which aims to provide legislative support to the creative economy. He is the chairperson of the Special Committee on Creative Industry and Performing Arts both in the 18th and 19th Congress. In the 18th Congress, he authored several measures to address challenges in the sector, two of which became law, Republic Act 11726, or the Edades and Bernal Museum Act, and Republic Act 11904, or the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act. In the 19th Congress, he is the principal author of House Bill 615, or the Freelance Workers Protection Bill, House Bill 617, or the Cultural Mapping Bill, and the House Bill 1281, or the Creative Incentives Bill, among other measures geared towards developing our creative industries and our MSMEs. He is also a staunch proponent of agricultural development and is a principal author of House Bill 613, or the Young Farmers and Fisherfolk Challenge Bill, House Bill 616, or the Integrated Urban Agriculture Bill, and House Bill 2864, or the Aqua Negosyo Bill. To offset the economic impact of the pandemic, he launched www.explorepd4.com, a website that provides MSMEs from his district a fully functioning e-commerce space, the Anakbano Arts Residency, which encourages local artists to interact with the community and produce new art forms, the Calamansian Ed Lekep Butao that offers visitors a unique calamansi picking experience to help boost farmers' livelihood, the San Fabian Bikers Den and the Tundaligan Beach Boardwalk to help spur tourism in Dagupan City. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a virtual round of applause to Congressman Toff de Venecia.
Joseph, thank you for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. Masantos ya kaagwan. It's namin. Greetings and creativity. Allow me first to thank the Division for Sustainable Development Goals of the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, as well as the DTI Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development for inviting me to speak before our creative MSMEs this morning on RA 11904, the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act. This recently passed legislation, which is expected to really guide our country towards the creative future that we envision. I'm very pleased that the creative agenda is something that more people, especially change makers, policy makers, are taking cognizance of and are slowly onboarding with. This affair hopes to introduce some of the best practices of Philippine creative MSMEs to handpick localities so that they may emulate and even innovate on these so they can apply it to their own LGUs as well. Of course, this is in line with our goal to develop more creative cities in the country, in line with the UNESCO Creative Cities Network framework, but more on that later. Let me briefly discuss the salient features of RA 11904, or the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, specifically its parts that would be of great help to our local creatives and MSMEs so that you know the benefits that you can avail of once the law is implemented starting next year. So at the onset, the three major parts of this law are first, a formal definition of creative industries and its domains. Second, the creation of the Philippine Creative Industries Development Council, a new government agency that will be attached to the DTI. And third, the various forms of state support to the sector. The law sets a working definition of creative industries based on the UNCTAD framework. So for those not so much in the know, there are actually three frameworks that we were considering during the deliberations. But this was the framework that was endorsed by NEDA and the stakeholders as well as lobbyists as well. So we define creative industries as, quote, trades involving persons, whether natural or juridical, that produce cultural, artistic, and innovative goods and services originating in human creativity, skill, and talent, and of course, having a potential to generate wealth and livelihood through, of course, the utilization of intellectual property. They also include those directly or indirectly involved in the creation, production and manufacturing, performance, broadcasting, communication, and exhibition, or distribution and sale of works and other subject matter in accordance with existing laws, rules, and regulations on intellectual property rights protection. The law also establishes a Philippine Creative Industries Development Council that shall be composed of representatives from different government agencies, including, of course, DTI, which will be the co-chair of this new agency, the Department of Education, Department of Science and Technology, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, Commission on Higher Education, Department of Tourism, the Department of Information, Communications and Technology, the National Economic Development Authority, and the Department of Science and Technology. The council also includes 9 private sector representatives from the 9 identified creative industry domains, namely audio and audiovisual media, digital interactive media, creative services, design, books, publishing and printed media, performing arts, visual arts, traditional cultural expressions, and cultural sites. And of course, other such domains as can be created by the council in the future, given more policy deliberations on their end. The council will also serve as a coordinating body for all government agencies with existing mandates to develop the sector. This means that efforts of the Film Development Council for film, or the National Book Development Board for books, and the Design Center for the design sectors, as well as the National Museum, the National Council for Children's Television, with regards to child-friendly content, and the Cultural Center of the Philippines, which has since diversified their programs. They actually even service the animation sector in the last few years, would form part of a bigger plan. This act ensures that the government always takes a long-term view in terms of investing in the creative sectors. Lastly, the law offers a whole menu of state support to strengthen the capacities of our MSMEs, either in terms of financial capacity, marketing, skills training, many others. First, there will be subsidized rental schemes for shared service facilities and other infrastructure so that our creative workers can cultivate or promote their goods and services. The law specifically provides that preference for our MSMEs shall be given to this regard. Second, grants for research and development as well as digitalization shall be provided to our MSMEs who wish to upgrade their technology to further their respective businesses to meet the demands of the fourth industrial revolution. Third, a creative voucher system to systematize the granting of support, aid, and other incentives to creative industry entities, again with a preference towards MSMEs and, of course, creative worker organizations. Fourth priority with regards to access to credit and financial instruments from our GOCCs, or government-owned and controlled corporations and government financial institutions, to help increase capital for their businesses, or even be able to sustain their business operations, or even to allow for business expansion. Fifth, creative industry data, which will be managed by the council in coordination with the Philippine Statistics Authority. So the Secretariat shall develop a website that shall serve as the primary source of information on statistics, events, and government programs and benefits of our creative stakeholders. We hope to make this a platform as well to feature our creative MSMEs and creative cities, of course, working alongside the existing Create Philippines website being managed by DTI SciTem. Sixth, the Creative Industry Development Fund to be able to fund R&D initiatives, human resource development, and workers' welfare programs. We are happy to report that in the latest version of the House bill, which establishes a digital service tax, or the Netflix tax, as you might have read about in the news in recent months, 5% of VAT collections will actually redound to this fund, which is an estimated 1.5 billion pesos a year based on projections by our House economists. So at least other than the general appropriations in the yearly budget, we will have a funding source for all the programs of this council. So this is a very exciting development. Seventh, our negosyo centers that are existing in all of the LGU offices will be mandated to extend their services to our creative MSMEs. This makes sure that registration, marketing support, technical assistance, etc., become more accessible and less of a daunting task. So this ensures ease of doing business, basically for our creative MSMEs and stakeholders. And eighth, and probably what I will discuss more in depth, is the formalization of the Philippine Creative Cities Network, which was an idea that came to us in April of last year, and we were pursuing pro bono with a lot of volunteers. At least now it'll be a regular program of this new government agency. So the PCCN was actually patterned after the UNESCO Creative Cities model. As a backgrounder, UNESCO launched the Creative Cities Network in 2004, which recognizes cities in the world who situate creativity at the forefront of their socioeconomic development in 7 fields, namely craft and folk art, literature, film, music, gastronomy, media arts, and design. So in 2017, Baguio City applied for this accreditation and was successfully able to become our first UNESCO Creative City in the category of craft and folk art. And in 2019, Cebu became our first UNESCO Creative City for design. So application is actually biannual, it's every 2 years. And there was a 2021 application round. However, both cities that applied were unsuccessful, but we're preparing for a more successful bid in 2023 of next year. But we don't want membership to the UCCN or the UNESCO Creative Cities Network to be the sole determination of cities to be able to pursue creativity for their own socioeconomic goals. So the dream of the PCCN or the Philippine Creative Cities Network, which is also largely influenced by the Indonesian Creative Cities Network, which is being championed by our global colleague, Tita Larasati, is to make every city in the country, in the Philippines, a creative one, regardless of whether they are a UNESCO Creative City or not. Hence, the Philippine Creative Cities Network. So the PCCN is a knowledge and resource sharing platform to help empower our local chief executives, our mayors, to harness creativity, partner for creativity, leverage creativity, and creative industry for socioeconomic development. Total population of cities in the country, 146. Total members as of today to the PCCN, 48. So we are somehow still far from our goal, but definitely we are making strides. The PCCN, of course, will be instrumental in a lot of possible programs and projects that can be explored at the local level. Imagine each city funding their own arts or creative residency program, or subsidizing existing ones that are being pursued by the private sector. In the Whoa, sorry, hold on. All right. Imagine there are, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 creative residency programs that are running in the country today. In the Gupan city, in my own district, we have the Galila, or rather the Anakbanwa Creative Residency Program. We successfully concluded our second year last October, and it's coming back for its third installment next October. So that's very successful. We're going to be having our very first Galila Arts Festival in February of this year. So the PCCN can also help engender and create and encourage LGUs to be able to produce their own festivals, their own arts festivals, which can, of course, support local creatives and also encourage tourism, creative tourism. Imagine each city, for example, having its own film commission or a database of film locations to entice advertisers and film companies to be able to shoot in their respective localities. Imagine each city commissioning large-scale murals and public art installations, as what you will see in Taguig or in Baguio City, and other creative destinations in the country. Imagine each city having their own co-working spaces for freelancers. Each city having their own museums and theaters and public parks. Each city organizing their own festivals, live events that are distinct, meaningful, and culturally rooted. A nice example would be what Soul Surf was able to do for San Juan and make it into the surfing destination that it has become today. I remember 2004 when I went there after high school graduation. It was so dark and quiet. There's only one resort, and now it's such a happening destination because the development was spurred by an event, a creative event that was held annually. Of course, you'll also be familiar with Malasimbo Arts Festival, and what they were able to do for that rather obscure destination. And many others that could prop up as you empower LGUs and cities to do their own events, of course, guided by their own distinct local heritage. Imagine each city incentivizing good design in their respective communities, such that their public infrastructure or even private infrastructure would be more culturally rooted, design forward, and could serve as monuments and tourist like tourism draws for their own localities. Or, for example, each city developing their own creative OTOP or one town, one product, or each city pursuing their own brand. Of course, we talk about brand, and this is very much in line with the president's policy of creating a strategic national brand, as he discussed in his first State of the Nation address, of course, in partnership with tourism. And of course, leveraging this brand for tourism and also for investments in their locality. So if you think Baguio, it's the city of pines, or Bacolod, city of smiles. Dagupan is most child-friendly city, but of course, our brand is really bangus. So, how are you? What does it mean to be such, and how can you be more strategic in terms of the merchandise being sold to the tourists or the festivals and the programs that are included in the festival, etc. Or each city having its own online gateway, and providing an e-commerce platform for their respective MSMEs, whether they apply their trades in either goods or services. So for this purpose, we actually funded through DTI and through a strategic partnership with Joel Santos and the Thames Business School's ICE program, the creation of a Philippine Creative Cities Playbook, which we launched at the Visayas Art Fair in Cebu last year. The playbook shall be endorsed and workshopped to 42 member cities next year, and hopefully more will sign on to the platform, as the PCCN, as I said, is only at 28% of total membership. We are targeting 70% of all cities by 2023 and 90% by 2024, and hopefully 100% by 2025. The playbook will help local chief executive and his or her team to do stock taking of cultural and creative resources and talent, undergo needs assessment, and allocate resources and efforts towards unlocking their creative potential. So to conclude, this is just the beginning of our aspirations to take our creative industries to the next stage of its development and growth. We are excited to see the law's full implementation by next year, granting that the IRRs are in its final stages, about to be approved actually. But of course, we want to keep in touch with all of you and keep these conversations going to see how we can further the creative agenda. So feel free to shoot us an email at christopher.devenecia@house.gov.ph, or message us on social media at repcdevenecia or achieveph, ACCIBPH, or even explore PD4 if you'd like to find out more about what our district has to offer. I focused my talk for this morning on the PCCN because there really is an ocean between national policy and support for creatives at the grassroots level. So if we really want to be able to galvanize this movement, we have to really onboard our and our mayors. And so at the end of the day, we do what we do, if not for us, then for future generations of creatives to be able to pursue their passions and not be told otherwise. Hence the hashtag Future is Creative. That's pretty much it. Balbalig salamat. Tan masantos ya kaagwan si namin. Thank you.
Thank you, Kongta. We are really fortunate to that we were able to secure your attendance despite your busy schedule. Again, thank you, Kongta.
Thank you.
All right. So before anything else, we would like to request everyone to turn on their videos for a quick photo op. So we can document this special event. May I please request Kang Tof de Venecia, OIC Director Emma Susano, Mr. Joel Santos, Mr. Clark Liu, and our esteemed speakers, also our participants, to please open your videos. Sir Chino, can you please do the screenshot of this? So I guess there are two pages. So for the first page, Sir Chino, can we take our photo? Everyone, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. For the next page, Sir Chino, are you ready? All right. Ready now, Sir Chino? Okay. In 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa. Isa pa po. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, thank you, everyone.
Third.
Okay, so in connection with the program details, we have Miss Kat Marilyn, who is a creative professional who continues to hone and share her skill set and knowledge in business development and design. She has expanded her portfolio as a creative entrepreneur by providing strategic services from concept and strategy to execution for various notable local and international brands. She graduated with a degree in Bachelor of Fine Arts in Information Design from Ateneo de Manila University and earned her master's degree in managing innovations in creative organizations in Loughborough University, London, also a Chevening Award Scholar and a Chevening Social Media Ambassador. She is currently with Thames International Business School as a Program Director of the Innovation and Creative and Entrepreneurship Program. Let us all welcome Ms. Katrina Malilian, Project Assistant, to introduce the Creative MSME Champion candidates. Ms. Kat, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Joro, for the introduction. Good morning again. We are very happy to welcome our 17 representatives from 9 cities and or municipalities in the country. So I'll be just calling on them per city, and then I invite the representatives to open their camera for a quick photo after the list. So again, please turn on the camera immediately after you are being called, and we will add you to our spotlight. So to start our 9 cities, next slide please, Chino. Okay, so from Marikina City, we welcome Ellie Rose Edulian, the owner of Ellie Knows Enterprises, and Roeliza Landicho, the owner, designer of the Fashion Purveyor Enterprise. Hello, so Hannah, please add everyone to the spotlight as I speak. So, next city. So from Quezon City, we welcome Mary Grace Riano, the owner of Morian Fashion Design.
M. Jorian.
M. Jorian. Okay. Next city. Okay, so from Dagupan, Region 1 Ilocos, we call on Tia Sims, the owner of Tia Chloe, and Leandra Crizal Pasion, the creative founder of Nunki. Next slide, please. From Vegan City, also from Region 1 Ilocos, our representatives are Ruelda Concepcion, the branch owner of Ruelda's Loom Weaving, and also Mercy Grace Almazan, the project development manager of Suyo Multipurpose Cooperative. Again, we invite these representatives to turn on their camera so we can take a photo after. Next, please. From Pampanga, Region 3, Central Luzon, we call on Donna Kamaya, the owner artist of Fragments Handicrafts, and Crystal Joyce Herrera, the owner of Your Joyce. Okay. Next would be from Iloilo City, Region 6, from Western Visayas, Maggie Rose Carado, the owner of Modern Ilongga, and Ilya Angela Salveron, the owner of the Wooden Living Furniture and Crafts. For all representatives, just turn on your camera. We will be adding you all to the spotlight. Okay. And next would be from Tagbilaran City, Region 7, Central Visayas. We have Christine Vertusio, of the proprietor of Vertusio, and Christian Paul Naparota, the owner of XP Films. From Puerto Princesa, Mimaropa region, we call on Gloria Lim, designer, Astalia Philippines, and Jude Rivera, the owner of Arapilac. And the last but not the least, I think, from the City municipality, we have CDO, Misamis Oriental, Region 10, Northern Mindanao. We have Maria Francesca Cabanlet, the principal designer of Cabanlet Designs Interior Design Services. and Natalie Marie Mariano, the owner of Sinequa Non. So I'd like to again call these representatives to turn on their videos. And okay, good. And I also asked Mr. Joel Santos, our national consultant, Sir Clark from UNDESA, and our DTI representatives to join us in the call, to join us in the photo op.
Is Kongtov still there? Baka you can join.
Yes, oh sure, yes. Komtov, please also join us. We'd like to a photo with our representatives. Okay. Gino, can you flash the poster, please? Okay. Let's go, Hannah. We can do this. Okay. Gino, I would just need your help. So just take a photo of at least all the participants with our poster. Again, congratulations to our 17 representatives from 9 cities, municipalities. These representatives, again, will undergo a 3-month online program on creative entrepreneurship under the Creative Age for SDGs. And they will also be creating a document on their cities and their creative industry. So we're very looking forward to their output and also how they're going to upscale and pivot their own businesses. So let's take a photo. Okay, everybody look at the camera. Okay, picture and 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, next page. Again, and 1, 2, 3, smile. Again, congratulations, everyone, and we look forward to meeting you more in our next classes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Miss Kat. And again, congratulations to the selected creative MSME champions. Okay, so now we proceed to the creative entrepreneurship talk. We have 2 enthralling sessions in the line. May I introduce our first speaker for the talk, Uncharted Territories, a walkthrough of Mara Piñon's creative journey. Mara Piñon creates wearable art for your hearts. Entwining whimsically fun ideas and passion together is what they do best. Her wearable art is meant to entice users to pace their days ahead with excitement, colors, and ideas that add sparks of delight throughout the day, in which she hopes to help and tell you that you are not alone. Working with artisans and influencing our audience with a growth mindset is a big part of their values. They provide artisanal grade and reliable items by encouraging new tech innovative approaches while giving value to the traditional human handwork in their creative process. Good morning and over to you, Ms. Mara, founder of Mara Piñon PH Wearable Art. Let us give her a big round of applause.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak today. Uh, yeah, so I'm Mara Piñon. I'm the founder and designer, artist, maker for the Mara Piñon brand. So I'm just gonna be a little bit chill. So I want to share naman my personal story with the creative enterprise that I have and I have been nurturing for years now. So I'm here to share my story about spreading delight in dark uncharted territories. Um Please, next slide, please, Ian. Thank you. The brand Mara Piñon is a creative enterprise founded in 2019 that focuses on creating whimsical footwear and fashion accessories for your hearts. I started with designing and making footwear because at the time I thought it was a very complex thing to do. And I figured if I can make it into footwear, I could make it anywhere. not long until I realized how challenging footwear is. Sobrang hirap niya. And the more complicated it gets, the more I want to be a part of it and the industry. Next slide, please. The Tars emoji was my first design that tells a story about mental health struggles. It's been a classic favorite of my loyal audience. The design was inspired by the Tarsiers, who are widely known for their huge eyes and tiny bodies, but they can also harm themselves when faced with anxiety of deforestation or being locked up in cages. And I thought that this was something a lot of people who are facing mental health issues or struggles could relate to. Uh, like like people, these tiny creatures can face the problems of suicide as well. But the story doesn't end there. The Tarsimoji creates a strong bond with its wearer. It serves you well by being the best companion when you're feeling down or anxious about a task, or it creates a safe space. It spreads joy and excitement for like-minded people. Kasi when you wear these shoes, people would just randomly approach you and say, "Oh, your shoes are cute," ganyan. So yeah, um, so it does spread joy and excitement and delight for like-minded people, the end users, also the makers, because it's something unique. It's something they've never been done before. So it excites them to create something new. So yeah. Next slide, please. Sure, I'm very sure a lot of people here could relate how the pandemic challenged our way of life. Big and little changes happened around us so fast, it was hard to keep up. Most of us were living in confusion and uncertainties. For me, creating and crafting has always been a big part of who I am. Not being able to work and see my colleagues and I'm stuck in the same place uh, impacted on my mental health immensely. Not knowing what's going to happen the next day was too much. Everyone around me was feeling so vulnerable. Even the strongest people I know were so anxious about their loved ones. Next slide, please. So when the pandemic started, I was already enrolled in ICE Batch 4. I was very fortunate uh, that I was a part of it because the program really has equipped me with how to generate new ideas and new ways of problem solving. Plus, everyone was really ready to help each other out. In the business side, personal side, like everyone was willing to help each other. And then we were able to ask ourselves things like, how might we survive the pandemic? So here, I'm gonna share you some projects that I started during the pandemic. So like next slide, please. First, uh, I was testing the waters of how I could engage my audience. I started footwear sketching online classes. No, this is footwear action coloring pages. I made line art lang of designs that I've made in the past, and then send it to a couple of people, and then we go online, and then we talk online while coloring the books. Next slide, please. And then after that, we started to do footwear sketching and design workshops online with the Zapateria team. So this is actually the first class. First class. Next slide, please. And then I was able to also make masks that matches that matches a bandana for your dogs. And then during 2021 Valentine's Day, I also made chocolates. Next slide, please. And then I developed this po bahay bedroom sleepers. It is designed for maximum cuddle weather or relaxed vibes for when you're at home working, ganyan, and when your feet need some cuddling, ito yung sagot dyan. So next slide, please. I also opened my time for bag commissions. I was able to give new life and meaning to old favorites with art. Next slide, please. And then while painting, I'm also filming myself. So that, and I posted it on YouTube to as an outlet. I was using YouTube as an outlet and as an engagement and a way to advocate about mental health struggles during the pandemic. Next slide, please. And then this is the latest that I have, the latest design that I made. It was inspired by the gardens most people started onward tending to during the pandemic. The materials are upcycled retazo, and I printed my original art, yung flowers, and then I put them into shoes. Next slide, please. So, yeah, now I've made a lot of projects since then, since 2020. I now this is the problem that I that I na aking na I'm sorry. This is the problems that I'm currently facing. So the prices of the raw materials that I use for footwear and bag making are actually, most of it are imported. And then the price has, it's been rising, so it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep the products at a low cost but in a good quality. And then I feel like new technology in manufacturing and design has emerged and grown rapidly. And I feel like maybe this is the right time to say hello to the international stage again. And of course, the need for local research and development support in making raw materials alternative na more sustainable sana, and ano na, so para hindi na kami dependent on imported raw materials like rubber or leather and hardware. Next slide, please. So I'm gonna show you lang some of the projects that I've started with private and government sector. So first is the Pateria has always been my number one go-to place when designing and creating new footwear. Recently we opened our doors again to start new relationships with new clients during the Artefino 2022. Next slide, please. And then I launched together with DTI and FAMPH a store for DTI for Filipino brands na DTI helped and Easy Fulfill helped to ship to the US, so it's available and easy access to our American market. Next slide, please. This is a recent one. This is a collaboration with the QC local government with FAMPH to empower women deprived of liberty, because we have makers there as well, and they want to I want to be a part of a community where we empower ladies who are deprived of liberty. Next slide, please. And then I'm able to do B2B meetings during the Manila Fame Plus events. Thames also has equipped me to learn how to engage with people, with businesses internationally. So Binibini New York is an international brand who wants to partner with me to create a mental health, to create and incorporate mental health stories in their designs. Next slide, please. And then DTI Marikina has also given me opportunities to meet businesses in local areas as well. This is actually a few weeks ago. Roelisa is here too, and Nifty. We visited a mall in Festival Mall a few weeks ago, and we saw Cordillera's raw materials. Next slide, please. And this naman, I was a part of the Philippine Footwear Design Competition as a mentor. It is run by the DTI, the PFFI, and Zapaterias hosting the event. So these are the young Filipino footwear designers na who's gonna join, and I'm mentoring them to help them make their shoes. Next slide, please. So if you want to see more of our work, you can visit the website marapinion.com, or you can message us on IG marapinionph. Next slide, please. So that's all. Thank you. I hope my story kind of resonates to you. I hope you keep pushing forward, because it's been a difficult life for everybody, and I hope we go forward together. Thank you so much.
All right. Truly, this women-led MSME will speak for women empowerment. So thank you, Ms. Mara, for that insightful message. Okay, so our next speaker, Ms. Ali Garibay, is a painter, organizer, and writer. She got her bachelor's degree in fine arts from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, magna cum laude, receiving awards for her works in oil and watercolor as a student. Ali has since mounted a couple of solo exhibitions and regularly participates in group shows. She was the Philippine delegate for the visual arts at the 2010 ASEAN Youth Camp in Hanoi, Vietnam. As a multi-awarded artist, her paintings are the amalgamation of feminine figuration, thematic, non-objective abstraction, architectural structures, and a distinct gestural typeface to express existential ruminations on the formation and or dissolution of the self through relationships, memory, and places. As an organizer, she has co-designed local art festivals, Paghilom in Cavite, Pagkarahay in Camarines Sur, and Ranyag in Cagayan, and was involved in various art educational initiatives through Artletics Incorporated. She currently co-runs the Linangan Art Residency in Alfonso, Cavite, which cultivates young artists through a holistic curriculum designed to hone artist leaders in creating art that is definitive of Philippine culture. Together, a round of applause to Ms. Ali, founder of Linangan Art Residency.
Thank you po. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Ali, you need to speak a bit louder.
Okay po.
The volume's a bit low. Thanks.
Is this better?
That's better. That's better.
Okay po. Good morning, everyone. Nakaka-excite po marinig the previous speakers. So I'm speaking for Linangan Art Residency, and what Congressman Tov and also Mara and the previous speakers have presented regarding the creative industry and how they're partnering with the creatives and the local governments are exciting for us to as visual artists and painters. So I'll start with my presentation. What happens when artists decide to create an art school? So specifically in the regions, without any degree in education and experience in school administration. So ano kaya mangyayari? Medyo
exciting at medyo magulo. So ayan, next slide po. So, Linangan Art Residency is an alternative art school in Alfonso, Cavite, developing and defining contemporary Philippine art and culture. So, ano po kaya yung contemporary Philippine art based and also Philippine contemporary culture? Yan po yung focus ng Linangan Art Residency, and I will expound with the next slides. Next. So, sa Linangan, yung process ng Linangan, yung setup niya is a co-living and co-learning. Kasi it's an 8-week residency for 8 artists at a time from different regions in the Philippines. So, kaya may co-living kasi kami dormitory type, sama-sama talaga. And co-learning, aside from being mentored by established artists, they also exchange knowledge and notes. So they learn from each other. There is knowledge transfer from established artists, mentors, and even upcoming artists. And they also transfer yung kanilang experiences and knowledge sa isa't isa. So ang input, we have concept development that is done through meron kaming art history classes, show and tell sessions kung we give feedback on their works. Also, we invite visiting mentors to also give feedback on the resident artist works, as well as to give talks and technique demonstrations. That also falls under the capacity building aspect of the program, and of course, community engagement. By community engagement, the setup itself was designed to really cultivate that spirit of community amongst artists from the different regions. Also, balik lang po natin dun sa next slide. So sa output, yes, sa output naman, what the program wants to develop and instill in the resident artists is critical thinking, character development, social consciousness, and authenticity. So, emphasis lang po namin dun sa authenticity because ito po yung strength ng program kasi yung authenticity is yun po yung root ng culture, yung cultural identity po ng mga artists, and even on a bigger scale, yung kanilang probinsya, yung kanilang regions, and of course, on a national level, tayo bilang Pilipino, sino ba tayo? So we always emphasize on pondering questions of identity sa aming mga artists, and that's how they approach their process, their work. And also, so sa mga graduates namin, nakita namin this approach, this identity-centered approach that really encourages authenticity, gives them confidence and boldness. Yung resilience na hindi lang market dependent, hindi lang siya confidence na maging artist or maging creative dahil mabibenta yung work mo. Pero confidence dahil yung work mo ay ikaw yon. And it's rooted on your identity, your daily life, your environment. Ayun. So next po. So the Linangan experience. Sa Linangan, there is getting to know yourself better by learning and engaging with other artists and learning from their experiences. Lagi nilang in-emphasize the importance of just talking with each other, exchanging life experiences, and even ano ba yung kultura sa kanilang lokal. There is also heightened self-awareness that in turn lessens their insecurities. Kasi tayong mga artists and creatives, maraming insecurities, laging nagkukumpara sa iba, laging laging feeling na hindi ka enough. Gaya nga ng sinabi ni Mara, sometimes you have to battle mental and emotional limitations. Pero what we emphasize in our program is that if you have a heightened self-awareness, mas malinaw yon, it gives you actually a confidence na mas lumiliit yung insecurity. And when you're more confident about yourself, about your creative process, about who you are, it allows you to tackle bigger and more complex problems. And you are more open to creative collaborations. Parang di na masyado nag-get in the way yung ego. Actually, mas nakaka-motivate pa, mas nakaka-excite yung exploring possibilities with fellow artists and creatives. I can say for myself, I feel from the artist, a resident artist, and for myself as a facilitator of the program. There is also a higher sense of purpose and responsibility, which we really design dun sa community engagement. We emphasize on artists being conscious of playing a role in their community, in society, not being isolated, hindi lang isolated na genius or parang hiwalay sa iba. So kaya parang from the program, the artist emerged with a higher sense of purpose and responsibility. Kung saan niya dinadala yung art niya, kung paano siya makitungo bilang tao, bilang community member, and also paano niya rin gustong ilagay yung kanyang impact, paano niya gustong papuntahin kung saan man yung kanyang impact. Okay, next slide. So here are some photos from the residency. So this is Ian Inoy from Quezon, and here is our art history class. And here's a picture of Miss Dindin Araneta of Artware Philippines and artist Alfredo and Isabel Aquilizan. Critic panel for our residency exhibit. We always at the end of the residency, the residency exhibit is being critically paneled by established and veteran artists and movers in the art scene. So and also last picture, we have Fit and Right program. So we emphasize that yung mga artists dapat healthy pa rin, hindi pwede yung pinapabayaan yung katawan. And also it encourages that bonding din dun sa mga artists. Okay, next slide. So co-living, so the artists cook their food together, they do river cleanup, and they also plant the veggies they eat, this organic garden. So there is always this emphasis on holistic wellness, holistic understanding of culture, and ano rin yung impact natin bilang tao, bilang artist sa ating environment, sa ating community. So all this actually reinforces the idea of empowerment and self-designing. Yun nga, yung sabi nga ni Congressman Toff, what if creatives can design their communities, can design their life? So it's a lifestyle and eventually a culture then. So actually, hindi siya frivolity. Hindi frivolity yung being creative and being determining sa sarili mong buhay, di ba? I think that's very important na laging hindi na-emphasize ang yung importansya given yung context ng economic development and parang productivity. But when it all boils down to it, parang actually mas fundamental siya kasi parang mas development siya ng culture and what our idea of growth, abundance, and success are. So yun yung mga parang you have to define for yourself, design for yourself these things. What is happiness? So that is also being creative on I think a bigger, more important level. And that's what we're trying to do collectively here as creatives sa Linangon. So next slide. So also our process in selecting and programming who the artists residents are for the program is cultural mapping through process of representation. We really want to diversify the artist pool for each batch. So as you can see, we have currently we have 52 alumni from 18 provinces and even one from California. She's a Filipina Philam. And growing pa rin po yung reach ng Linangan Art Residency. And I think it is also enriching the kind of the program itself. The diversity enriches the program. So the plan is to export the Linangan residency program, the model, to other regions. And I think yung po aligned po yung nila Sir Toff, the Venetia, yung program of creative cities. Kasi for example, we have artists being sponsored by their LGUs, like a couple from Iloilo through Mayor Jerry Treñas. A lot of almost half of our graduates from Iloilo were sponsored by Mayor Jerry Treñas of Iloilo. And we also have an artist from Cagayan sponsored by Mayor Tin Antonio of Alcala in Cagayan. So we are exploring and cultivating these partnerships to educate our artists. So next slide. So some photos of our graduates. Okay. Hindi ko na. Bale, right now we have from Luzon to Mindanao na kasi last batch we have some artists from Zamboanga del Sur. So yeah. Okay, next. Ayan. So of course our motto is learning by doing. So we do rapid prototyping. For each batch, we always tweak up a part of our program. We try to develop what the program according to what works for the artist, what works for us. We believe that creativity demands courage. Kasi the courage to make mistakes, to try new things, and to not give up. So yeah, we started with just one artist from Iloilo, Pauljan Cabanalan, and now for each batch we have 8 artists, and we have 3 batches of artists per year. So we have 24 artists per year. Aside from through alam yun ni Mara kasi yun nga parang trading mga uncharted waters, di ba? Ganyan tayo mga artists. And also, with that analogy, yung ating mga resident artists who, some of them actually just went out for the first time nila to be living, working outside their provinces. So, it really, their courage and their dedication to their art is really inspiring. So, next one. So some photos lang po from our recent residency batch. On the left is Bray Barrios from Valenzuela City. Actually, nagsama silang si Julian Nang from Valenzuela City rin. So nakakatuwa, magkapit-bahay pala sila, hindi nila alam. But I was just juxtaposing yung range ng art forms and also yung concerns ng artists that we take in. So Bray Barrios is an activist and Julian Nang is a formalist, more on the modern line. So modernist lines. Next slide po. Ito naman po is si Roger Mond from Mandaluyong, and his recent, last year na pala, exhibit at Vinyl on Vinyl. So talking about authenticity, si Roger Mond kasi he really lives in a kind of depressed area called Welfareville. So the portraits he presents here, he makes are actually inspired by his neighbors in Fairville, and even the house, the shanty that he presents is a naughty but defiant structure. And to put it inside a gallery is his own impish jab at the art market. So I mean, you can still be an artist and sell your art, make a living out your artwork, but you can still speak from where you are, from who you share who you are, and actually defy prescribed norms or aesthetics as to ano ba yung art. So tayo yung nagde-define ko ano yung art. And gaya ng sinabi ni Mara, yung our stories matter. Yun po yung emphasis lagi namin. Yung stories, our own stories are our resources. Yun po yung totoong resource natin as in a creative economy. Yun po yung mahalaga. Knowing who you are and sharing that. Okay, next. Next slide po. So, example of how we sustain Linangan Art Residency. So, we work with different supporters. For this year, we have support from Metro Bank Foundation to give scholarship for our artist residents. And they also support some of our projects. For Art Fair PH and Don Paparam, from Art Fair PH and Don Paparam, we also got a scholarship for the second year this year. And we also get scholarship pledge donations from private donors and supporters, even artists who are inspired by what we do. We also participate in art fair. So we're not really a full-time gallery, but we present our works. We sell our resident works at art fairs like in this previous the Xavier Arts Fest, the MOCA, Ortigas Arts Fest, and the recently concluded Visayas Art Fair in Cebu. So I think the warm reception from those participations are encouraging, and we were even quite surprised when we went to Cebu that they already are familiar with Linangan Art Residency and are eager to be part of it. For the galleries, we partner with some galleries who exhibit our alumni's works, and also partner with fundraising exhibits for the scholarship of the residency. And for future plans, we're also trying to get international grants from sige, apply ka, Mar. Just send your portfolio. And yeah, so from the local, regional to international. And next slide. See you. So here are some photos from the Visayas Art Fair in Cebu last November 24 to 27. Yeah. So we decided na very thematic talaga, curated yung exhibit. It's kay maanyag ang kaisog. It's na kay maganda ang lakas ng loob. So and this is an all-woman exhibit from our alumni artists from different parts of the Philippines. And I think this is one of the most visited booths in the Visayas Art Fair. As you can see, Miss Cebu did their photo shoot with the paintings and artworks. So I think we emphasize on the artist statement when we do our exhibits. It's always curated and with centered focus on the theme of empowerment, identity, authenticity, and how do you transform? So how can you transform your community? How can you transform yourself? So laging ganun po yung theme. Next slide. How does a nonprofit organization give hope but also economic opportunity to the art community? So yan yung big question for us. Kasi syempre ano naman kami, wala kaming business degrees. We're not really entrepreneurs. But what we've been doing actually is, sa totoo lang, marami na rin na-launch na careers from the residents who were part of the residency, from just quitting their jobs, like their day jobs as graphic designers, or marami po kasi talagang artists, they have day jobs, or full-time sila, hindi sila na full-time artists, mas full-time sila dun sa work that pays. So from them, sa batch namin, and also even those who were self-taught, ngayon, natunog na sila, hinahanap na sila sa market, sa art scene. So I think that's one example of that economic opportunity. But also, I think more than the literal career boost from no exhibits to exhibiting in major galleries and being featured in art fairs, I think hope also comes from the realization that you have a community of creatives supporting you. And I think that's also what the project of sister cities and creative cities are trying to emphasize, that we are here for each other. We are creative in creating opportunities that supports each other. And we have to remember that as creatives, we are our own resource, and our openness to be a resource for others, and also in asking for help from other creatives, that openness determines abundance or success, because yun lang po yung puhunan natin on a more solid level. So yung hope comes from cultivating a culture of openness and collaboration. Opo. So next, so cultural capital. So some points lang that we have learned and we ruminate upon in Linangan is to fully enjoy the benefits one can get from the growing creative industry, one needs to have a robust cultural capital. If not, the arts will continue to further alienate the people who create them and consume them. So yung cultural capital po, babalik pa rin siya sa identity. So kung hindi na-affirm ng kung anong ginagawa natin, kung ano yung produkto natin, paintings natin, yung sarili natin, kung sino tayo, mababurn out po tayo. So Linangan Art Residency acts as a Filipino Studies Center focused on the visual aspect. So yung mga questions, syempre, more on visual arts po kami, but we're not limited to, we're expanding. The questions we ask are, what makes one a Filipino? And what does it mean to be one? How do we relate with each other, with people from other countries? What are our stories? How do we share them? So, laging pagtatanong din kung sino tayo eh. Kasi kumbaga in terms of branding, ito yung ultimate branding. Kung sino ka. Hindi lang kung ano yung gusto mong i-project. At hindi lang kung ano yung gusto nilang bilhin sa'yo or gusto mong mabenta. So, to empower creatives to tell the stories of their communities validates not only themselves as artists, but of us as a people. So, tali po talaga yung creative industry tsaka yung cultural capital eh. Kasi kung nagka-create tayo pero ibebenta lang natin para sa ibang bansa and also catering to their aesthetics, their values, parang lang po yan eh, parang hindi na i-empower completely yung creatives kung hindi nanggagaling sa sila at hindi na-affirm kung sino sila. At hindi na-amplify yung ating mga kwento at kung sino tayo. Importance of identity in a globalized world. So yun po talaga kasi parang yun po yung cultural capital eh. Kaya nga tingnan nyo kahit sa Netflix, di ba, Ganun, di ba? Parang Korean. Ayun. So, ayun. So, to wrap it up, the lack of identity and culture is erasure of existence. So, kailangan po talaga yung pagiging authentic sa identity natin at alam natin. And creating rooted on that identity. So, yun po. Support Lilinangan, support an artist, and support the program. So you can follow us on IG at Linangan Art Residency or email us at linanganartresidency@gmail.com. Thank you po.
Right. Thank you, Miss Ali, for your creative entrepreneurship talk and insights. It is really good to hear directly from women and youth-led creative founders their wonderful experiences and challenges, especially during the pandemic, and how they were able to overcome it. Thank you again, Miss Ali and Miss Marijo Pinion. All right.
Ron?
Just like, yes, Sir Joel?
There's a lot of new participants. Can we just post the survey that Clark put in at the start so that those who didn't come in, who came in the middle, can fill it up? Thank you.
Yes, Sir Joel. We also posted this in our presentation deck. Okay, so just like that, we are
Okay.
already at the last portion of the activity. To officially close the event, may we call OIC Director Emma C. Asusano to virtually represent Undersecretary Priscilla A. Lantayona. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a virtual round of applause to Director Emma. Director Emma, we cannot hear you po.
Better. Joro, am I coming in clear now? Joro.
Yes,
Okay.
po, Director. Thank you po.
Okay. So on behalf of our Undersecretary Blisila A. Lantayona, we would like to greet the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the National Strategies and Capacity Building Branch, Division for Sustainable Development Goals Chief, Mr. Amson Sibanda, our Congressman Christopher De Venecia of the 4th District of Pangasinan, Mr. Joel Santos, our project consultant, colleagues from the DTI bureaus and offices, regional and provincial offices, of course, our local government units, our MSME creative champions, esteemed guests and partners, pleasant morning to all. I'd also like to congratulate the Division for Sustainable Development Goals in the UNDESA and the Department of Trade and Industry's Bureau of Small and Medium Enterprise Development for successfully staging this flagship event, which brings together the country's creative minds to foster an enabling environment for the Philippine creative economy. We are always grateful for the support that the UNDESA has been offering to the Philippine government in empowering MSMEs to drive the achievement of our shared sustainable goals. Creativity is in the Filipino DNA, quietly feeding humanity's soul and the Philippine economy. Whether we create or experience them, the creative industry improves our quality of life. Through the works of world-class Filipino creatives, we can discover, share, and recreate the story of our nation in books, galleries, halls, theaters, as well as in our own homes and public spaces. The pandemic, coupled with the devastating effects of the recent disasters that substantially struck some regions in the country, underscores the pressing need to strengthen MSME resilience, especially for women and youth-led MSMEs in the creative industry, who are growing into the economic pillar of the country, who are at the same time working in precarious conditions involving uncertainties and the negative socioeconomic impact of the pandemic. Today, we commenced one of our flagship strategies to reclaim our path to development. As the world approaches the fourth industrial revolution, we are marching forward on the global stage and going above and beyond to support our creative industries. The department, through the Competitiveness and Innovation Group, has been implementing the creative economy strategy of the Philippines, which takes an integrated approach to improving the competitiveness of the creative industries, facilitating the development and promotion of creative goods, exports, and assisting creative firms in accessing the global market. Now, as the UNDESA and the DTI BISMED are pleased to jointly launch Creative Age for SDGs, accelerating growth among creative MSMEs in the Philippines, we are even more hopeful to push into greater heights and strengthen the resilience of our creative champions, which are women and youth-led MSMEs all over the country. It is expected these will eventually contribute to their higher level of economic productivity through creativity, innovation, digitalization, and the development of an overall conducive business environment for resilient businesses to thrive by significantly reducing their vulnerability to climate-related extreme events and other economic, social, and environmental shocks and disasters. Correspondingly, it shall aspire to boost creative cities growth, create more jobs and entrepreneurship opportunities, especially for our women and youth. The creative industry is now one of the priority sectors of our government. And last May 31st, 2022, the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act was passed by the Congress. We are embarking on a global journey together. In the Global Innovation Index, we ranked 10th out of 130 economies in creative goods exports in 2021. The creative economy's potential is enormous, and this is what many of you animate and enliven. We can work together to build a vibrant, resilient, and strong Philippine creative economy at the forefront of the Asia-Pacific region, driving our country's development and enriching our culture. It is an industry powered by individuals like you and enriched by platforms like the Creative Age program. It was very heartwarming to hear two of our guest speakers, Ms. Mara and Ms. Rina. Listening to them was very, very inspiring. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Magandang umaga po ulit. Thank you. Back to you, Joro.
Thank you so much, Director Emma, for that closing message. And there you have it. I hope you're all as excited as I am about the impact this program will be making in strengthening our creative MSME ecosystem that will accelerate contribution to the shared sustainable goals. But before you leave, could we please request that everyone respond to the feedback form online by scanning the QR code on the screen. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in the second stage of the activities. Thank you, Joro, for hosting. And once again, we'd like to thank our main sponsor, UNDESA. Clark, thank you very much for this opportunity for creative entrepreneurs, MSMEs in the Philippines. And of course, DTI, our champion, and the office of Kongtof. For those who are here, I think you should be really inspired for what Kongtof shared with us on how the Philippines is now supporting the Filipino creative. Parang panahon na natin. So look forward to seeing everybody, and please get in touch with us, and we really hope to get your feedback. If you want copies of this, just make sure you also send that in the feedback form so that we can send you some of the presentations that you may have wanted to see. So thank you, everybody.
You.
Pero magdala ka ng t-shirt mo.
Very
Bigyan mo na ako t-shirt.
Kaya natin yan. Kaya natin yan. Kung nais umasenso, manap ng trabaho, o di kaya'y subukang magnegosyo. Lumikha ng produkto't sikaping lumago, inspirasyon mong pagkapiko. Katuwang ng gobyerno sa iyong tagumpay, iisa ang ating hangarin. Pag may abilidad at oportunidad, tiyak na ang lahat ay uunlad. Trabaho, negosyo, kabuhayan, kaya natin yan. Walang iwanan. Go lang ng go mga kaibigan. Trabaho, negosyo, kabuhayan, kaya natin yan. Sulong Pilipinas! Go, 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 kababayan! Kaya natin yan. Kaya natin yan. Kayaw magtipid sa iyong mga pangarap. Sige-sige sa pagsisikap. Asenso'y sigurado sa hinaharap. Manalig lang palagi sa sarili. Trabaho, negosyo, kabuhayan,